Peace Internet, it's me, Vonnie, aka Davon Raymond. Welcome back to Lazy Vlogs here on the Davon Raymond X YouTube channel. Okay, so I am sweating, as I have been. Probably a lot of your, upstate New York and East Coast friends have been roasting lately. Make sure you check on them. We've had a crazy heat wave. You guys already know about it, I'm sure. I think my coworker said there was like something in Mexico. I don't know. I'm pretty bad at remembering, water cooler conversations. I'm really, really bad at that. But yes, that is. So by the way, if you guys ever share a story with me, it's not that I'm not paying attention. I probably am, but will I remember it the week after? I make no promises. So it is very warm, and as an upstate New York local, I am lucky enough to have access to something that only locals have access to, which is a Stewart's Shop, or Stewart's Shop's coffee. No one calls it Stewart's Shop. There's two things that locals call it: Stewart's, and then you have the weird locals with that weird accent, and they call it Storts. Like no one calls it Storts. But actually, people really do, and it's really annoying. I call it Stewart's. It's great. I got they have regular and large. I went with a regular caramel iced decaf coffee with drizzle because, we gotta get that sugar in us. But, cheers, yes. Very, very, very warm today. It's overcast. It definitely looks like it's going to rain. I just shot to the bank and shot to... honestly, Stewart's, and then went home. And now I'm back. And I had a conversation before I left the house with my mother about guilt and permission. And I feel like it's really it's important that I make this video right now while it's in my head. So this is what we're doing. So I was talking to my mom. You guys know me. You guys know my previous lazy vlogs. If you don't know, please check them out. A more prominent one recently was me talking about how my mom wants me to go to Japan, right? So you can check out those videos. I have had a personal interest in, the Japanese language and in anime and manga for many years, since 12 or something like that, right? So this is not new, and she didn't just drop the idea in my head. What she was doing was giving me permission to go. And mentally, in reality, she doesn't have to give me permission to do, basically anything. But in my heart and in my head, I felt too guilty to even think that I was allowed to, while I'm living back in my mom's house, to spend my money on a trip outside of the country, outside of New York, wherever, down to the city, whatever. It's so basically this is what it was. I'm like, Mom, I'm sitting there watching these YouTube videos, these girls, they're, these East Coast girls or whatever, from Pennsylvania or from wherever they are, East Coast girls, and is Pennsylvania East Coast still? I feel like it is. It's East. It's not the coast, you know what I mean? No offense. But they're just talking about how they traveled to Italy and California and Florida, and how they're thinking I don't know, the one girl wants to be a model and she thinks her opportunities may not be the best in Florida, and the other girl's you never know, you could be getting flown out and all this stuff. So I'm seeing these girls who are 25, something like that, and they don't seem to have guilt stopping them from traveling and considering moving. And it was actually kind of relatable that these girls, albeit they're all a couple of years younger than me in the video, that they are not only traveling, but they are considering moving, and that's on their mind too. They love where they're from, and they love their home, and they appreciate, their family. Right now, I've got a nice situation here, you know what I mean, living at my mom's house, and it has nothing to do with her letting me, save up my money to move away and to travel and all this. This is just literally coming home to a safe place in a safe neighborhood and a clean house. It's generally quiet except for my nieces here. It's comfortable, it's safe. Like I said, it's got everything that anyone would ever need to be happy, on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, as a surfer, I would like us to be closer to the ocean, but, on just a normal person's life, it has everything that you need. So I really do appreciate living here. So these girls, they don't feel any guilt, it seems. They just keep giving themselves permission to travel here and see how I feel about this, and I don't know, I'm gonna see how I feel about that. And I want and need that. And, I don't know if my mother saw that as a mother looking at her son, one of a few sons, right? I'm one of 4, and I wonder if she saw that I needed to give myself permission, because I'm one of those people, just like you watching this video, you may be the same way, where, you think, why am I putting money or effort into this thing when I should be putting it into this thing? And, and because I failed to do, this, I have to beat myself up over this, and I'm not allowed to even consider happiness or joy or adventure or travel or, another relationship, if a past relationship failed, if a past job failed, if, whatever didn't work out. I'm so stuck and worried about how, that's a negative thing, and that how I failed and how things didn't work out because I didn't live up to the challenge and blah, blah, blah. So now, for example, I moved away to Rhode Island because I was giving myself permission to go do what I wanted to do. And when I moved back home, even like a month or 2 before I moved back home, when I knew that it was bound to happen, I felt, guilt. And now that I've been home for like 6 months, or 6 months or more, honestly, I feel a level of guilt, right? I started a job when I moved back home. It was okay, it was going all right, but there were some problems, and I decided that I was done with that job, and I felt freedom for a moment and gave myself permission to leave. But then I was stuck with so much guilt of thinking, if I just stayed in that job for another, couple of weeks, I could have done this. Or, dang, I was there for 2 months, I should have done that with the money that I had, or whatever. And the amount of time I've spent living at my mom's house since I moved back, I thought I was going to do X, Y, and Z. But I haven't, so the next time I get $2 in my freaking bank account, I'm going to have to, use it to beat myself up and to feel bad, rather than be optimistic and positive and feel like, wait, okay, so if that all didn't work out, my situation's okay, and if I keep putting effort and money in this direction, then I'm going to have a different life, a cool new experience, a better circumstance, or whatever, a chance at a better circumstance. Like, I need to give myself permission to be happy. I have to give myself permission to pursue something where something else failed. And it's frustrating that I have to do this now, or where it's not just natural. But you know what? I think it is natural to feel the level of guilt. I think it is natural to spring back, at least for me, and to give myself permission. But those two things are they're like hand in hand for some reason. I don't know why they are connected, but they very much affect my daily life. You guys can hear fireworks are already going off. Of course, it's upstate New York, so I'm pretty sure it's fireworks anyway. It's July 3rd. And I will be working for the entirety of tomorrow. So that'll be fun. I remember back in Rhode Island when I was living there in my apartment, I think during 4th of July, there was, I lived right next to this event venue where there would be bands, local bands that would play, or you'd see events, all private stuff, but it was really cool. As a neighbor, I just got a free concert every, weekend for a while. Excuse me. And there was a big open field and a creek and stuff directly across the street from my apartment. So it was honestly great. I lived right next to a venue, and then I lived right across the street from, huge fields, which really worked for me personally, as you guys may have seen in my previous videos. That Gooby and Doobie video where it looks like I'm sitting next to a Gooby on the video, but really it's just like a thumbnail where I'm sitting in the grass or whatever. It was really fun to do that, but it was really cool to have that type of like convenience, like where you live. It was really awesome. But yeah, the fireworks, it was super cool. I got to see them right from my bedroom window. I'm just looking out, I'm enjoying it. It was really, really cool. So I'm glad that was something that I gave myself permission to do, is to, save up my money and to move away and to see what life was like, deeper on the East Coast. And I just loved it. I loved the experience, and I love that I did that. So that's just an example of what happened when I gave myself permission. So now that I'm back home and, I've made some mistakes and had a little bit of victories here, but definitely feel guilty for the things that I didn't really achieve. Part of the guilt stems from posting online. I'll say, hey guys, I'm really excited about this project, about this thing that I want to do. That's the permission side. And then I either just kind of don't give it the fuel that it needs, or I just kind of lose confidence, and then I start to feel guilty because now I've talked about it in public, or whatever. And it doesn't even matter about online. I could tell my mother I'm interested in something, or my brother I want to do this or that, or I want to stop doing this or that. And then I'll still feel a level of guilt if I go ahead and change up and don't do what I stated I was going to do. So I think a way to help me is to stop stating things with such permanence. That definitely might help. And I don't know, I think I also have to deal with the Instagram brain, where you want to take a photo of, like, I could have uploaded, I could have posted to my Instagram story, my Stewart's coffee. Did I? No. But in the past, I would have absolutely done it because it's just the impulse. I made a purchase. Let's post it. You know what I mean? It's like, just not really... It's not what I want to be doing anymore. I think oversharing is definitely a problem for me. Not so much in these type of videos, but when I'm posting online, I don't want it to be like little things that really mean like nothing. I'd rather post a vlog that has me sharing the coffee and me sharing this happening and that happening. That more long form content ultimately is really what I'm trying to say. So I'm back home and I've had a couple of different ideas in my mind. Part of me is like, all right, so this is where it gets good, right? So the guilt makes me feel like I need to do something more serious to build a foundation in my life. In the past, I thought about making a brand with shirts and other products, just apparel type of stuff. And I've made Shopify stores and whatever else. I've created all types of designs. I've printed stickers over the years. I've made shirts. I've, sent shirts to people. I've done that stuff before, and it was fine. It was enjoyable. I really only dipped my toe in. I never really went whole hog into the small business thing, but that's what has been on my mind lately, and it's been tough for me to kind of discern the difference. Like, am I wanting to do this because I want to give myself permission to do something new and awesome? Or am I wanting to do this because I feel guilt because I haven't really done anything serious in my life thus far? So now I feel like now's the time to do something serious, like start a small business. So then 10 years from now or whatever, I'll be more secure, so then I can give myself permission to do stuff, more easily. So I haven't really launched it. I didn't want to launch it to you guys, and I still am not launching it. I'm going to take a long time to be sure that I actually do want to do this because I want to do it, not because I feel the guilt and the pressure to do it, right? So, yeah, that's just the reality of where my head is at. I was chatting with my mother before I went to the bank, and we were just talking about just traveling, and she's making some changes to the house. So that's just been in my mind. And so what has been in my mind is the whole guilt and the permission thing. And when I chatted with my mother about it, she basically was like, just try your best to give yourself permission on one thing that you really want to do, and then put the money behind it. Make sure you want to do it, and then do it. It seems really simple, but that is what has to happen. So I'm going to spend some time, and you guys are going to be joining me on the journey. I want to record a video and chat with you guys about vacation destinations. We won't even say, I'm going to make it happen in this month or that month or whatever. Nope. I just want to talk to you guys about the places I would like to go and why. And it won't be a lazy vlog. It'll be a proper video with images on the screen and all of that stuff. And I do look forward to that. I guess like map locations, and stuff. I think that would be like Google Maps. I think I'm picturing different things I want to do. But yeah, I think that would be nice, just for my own sake of having the record of me putting down what I'm interested in and why. It helps so I know that I've got the information out of my head, but it's also nice to use as a reference to go back and look at and see, okay, cool. Back in 2025, I was interested in traveling to Florida because of X, Y, and Z reasons. I don't know. So yeah, I think that'll be one of the next videos that I'll be posting. I think I want to do like 3 different videos that are like floating in my mind. One of them, I want to talk about a really good app I've been using for practicing Japanese. And of course, there'll be Japanese vlogs coming in as my classes will begin, or once they begin. But yeah, I want to talk about like just some of the things I'm doing personally to practice Japanese outside of class, and then travel destinations, and whether or not I'm going to hard launch the business that I have already started. I just don't want to put a ton of money into equipment and product and all of that unless I'm sure that I really want to do it. Like this has to be, it's not a huge amount of money, but it's still like, it's enough money to where I could have put it towards something more important, something that I care more about. And it's just not worth it to me to start a business and then, really have no plan for that business. So we'll make a video about whether or not we're going to do the business. We're going to make a video talking about travel destinations, where I want to go and why I want to go there. And then, of course, we'll be incorporating some Japanese study, what I'm doing to study videos. I'm very excited about all of this. So if you guys want to, subscribe to Vonnie or Davon Raymond X here on YouTube. You'll see more lazy vlogs and more content. And lastly, I just want to give a shout out to you guys for really just watching the videos. I'm watching the content now lately because I'm talking about going to Japanese classes. I feel like that's bringing in like a different audience into my channel. I see like I'll post a video and it's like 40 views within like a day or something, where before I would have 0 views on every video. So that is worth noticing. It definitely is worth noticing. So cheers to y'all if you are one of those viewers. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good one. I'm gonna enjoy my coffee, and maybe I'll just play some Stardew Valley on my Switch, as I just am feeling hot and I want to turn this big fan on that's next to me off screen, and I just want to relax. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any suggestions for travel destinations, if you have any suggestions for Japanese study, if you have any questions, concerns, comments, please comment below. And if you don't feel like publicly sharing, what's going on in your situation, but you still want to reach out to me, just message me on Instagram, DavonRaymondX on Instagram. I'll leave the link to my socials in the description of this video. You guys can always reach out to me. We can chat. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time.